Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Slimming Surgeon Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Kandace Kichler. Today, I have with me Dr. Andrew Barry. If you are an OG Slimming Surgeon podcast listener, he was probably episode 2 of my podcast. In that episode, we talked a lot about GI health because Dr. Barry is a double board certified gastroenterology and internal medicine physician. He's local here in Palm Beach Gardens, originally from Wisconsin, and he has a new book out. So the book, Bitcoin Investing, Addressing Any and All Hesitations. It's here. If you're watching on the screen, you can see it, and we will link it in the show notes because it's available on Amazon and pretty much anywhere you want to purchase a book. And he has a website too. So we're going to turn this into a finance podcast and talk about Bitcoin. Welcome, Dr. Andrew Barry.
Thanks for having me, Kandace. Again, I'm back.
I know. You're a great guest. We have good conversations. And this book has been out for how long?
Like 3 or 4 months.
Okay, 3 or 4 months. It's gaining traction. Bitcoin, is gaining traction. And I feel like it's something that we all just need to be aware of.
I agree completely. So I actually wrote the book. I thought about it earlier this year. Yeah, I'm still a doctor, just FYI.
He hasn't quit to do Bitcoin mining.
Yeah, but this is just on the side, but you never know. You never know. I kind of wanted to deep dive myself and learn myself. So the best way to do it was I felt do the deep dive, and if you're going to put in the time, you might as well come out with something. So I put in the time, learned about it, invested, told my family, and came out with a book with it. Because if you spend the time, you might as well have something tangible.
100%. I mean, this is a quick read. That's what I love about it. It's not over the top. It's not too much to digest. It's written like basic layman's terms. So someone like me who my major form of investing is Chanel bags can understand. So,
I mean, those are desirable assets. So actually, Chanel bags probably more desirable than holding dollar fiat currency. So I'm actually not against that.
It's not that I have learned this, that it's not the worst thing in the world. My husband would disagree. Okay, so because I know very minimal about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, this area of the world. Tell me, and our listeners, what is Bitcoin? Like, what is it?
Well, you fooled me with the orange jacket. I thought you were an expert, so the pressure's off. Bitcoin, everybody says the most common reason is, what is it? Where is it? I can't hold it. It's not like a gold bar. Like, what is this fake news? What is this thing? That I can see that. And, Bitcoin first came on the scene and really, I guess, Halloween of 2008. That's what the white paper described it. This invisible guy named Satoshi. No one knows what happened. It's like some guy came up with it and he disappeared.
Sketch.
Like immaculate conception.
Oh, okay.
Very odd, but kind of smart. But anyway, since 2009. And in 2009, it was, we hate our lives, but less than a cent each.
Yeah.
So instead of buying a Starbucks coffee, you would have bought 800 Bitcoins.
Yeah.
You don't even want to do the math.
Which today, what is 800 Bitcoins worth?
Oh, God. It's almost at 100,000, so do the math.
For one Bitcoin?
Yeah. So almost 80 million, 800 million.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But anyways, a Bitcoin is basically, there's no physical coin. It's not like this water bottle. There's nothing there. It's digital property. Imagine Manhattan, the city of Manhattan, which is great, phenomenal, thriving, epicenter of United States trade. Imagine there's 21 million Bitcoins ever. That's it. Never more, never less. And you can mine them to get them. So people have been doing that since 2009. And it's a whole complex algorithm. We're not going to go through that on the show. But basically, there's rewards, the computational things that happen on computers where these nodes compete for Bitcoin. It's like a mathematical prize. Mm-hmm. Imagine the math we did in elementary school, but now finally these computers are doing it like supercomputers, and they're getting rewards. Mm-hmm. And everybody at first thought, whatever. Some idiot mined Bitcoin and used that to pay for pizza. So now every year they have pizza day in honor of this guy's worst financial decision ever.
Right.
So basically, it's digital Manhattan. If you divide 21 million, it's like 273 to the cube So 273 high, 273 wide, and 273 deep blocks in cyberspace.
Okay.
So it's a good analogy. You go down, 86th Avenue in New York. So now you can imagine this cube in cyberspace. If you own one Bitcoin, you own one digital block.
Okay.
So that's a good analogy. And it's what everybody wants. Manhattan real estate's the best. But it's digital. It's fungible. I can hold it on my phone on a Saturday night. If I need money, I could sell it in the middle of a thunderstorm. I don't have to find a realtor, list it, wait for the inspection, all that. Boom, done. Market's always open, 365, 24/7. If there's war, I can trade on that news.
Interesting. Okay. So when did you first purchase Bitcoin?
Too late.
Yeah, I think that's the trend. I learned about Bitcoin. I heard about it I was interviewing for fellowships. So around 2015.
Oh, wow.
So a while ago, but also a while since its inception. And I met this guy in the airport. I was sitting, having coffee, and then this dude sat next to me and we started just chatting, and somehow he was a gamer and a gambler. Like, he was traveling the world just playing poker and other things. Totally wild. Like, great guy to talk to. And he started talking about Bitcoin. And I was like, yeah, why don't you just give me one? And he's like, no.
Wow.
I wish he would have. Because if I would have gotten one Bitcoin back then.
It's at between $95,000 and $100,000 right now by the time of the show.
Yeah. Insane.
Post-tax. That's like insane amount of money.
Okay, so we're going to get back into some basic stuff for a minute, but I want to digress a little bit. So what are the other cryptocurrencies? Because I asked my husband right before the show, I was like, hey, how much Bitcoin do you have? And he's like, oh, I have Ripple or something like that. Yeah, what are the other ones? How do they compare? What's the deal?
Well, there's like 4,000 legitimate quotation marks of other cryptocurrencies. There's even more. There's now meme coins, which is like Dogecoin, the Elon Musk.
Yeah. Okay.
Ironically, that's their Department of Government Efficiency also. So things happen for crazy reasons.
I thought I recognized that word. I was like, Doge. I've totally heard that before.
So Dogecoin. They purposely did that.
Okay.
It's crazy. And it was for a joke. But anyways, Ripple's another one. It's popping off recently.
Ripple.
It's like you got Apple, that's Bitcoin, and then you got like these billion other software companies that are competing with Apple or trying to.
Sure, but Bitcoin's the OG.
It's the OG, but it's also the only legitimate cryptocurrency because it's digital property, restricted amount. There's only 21 million. It's fungible. It's something that everybody wants, and it actually is proof of work. It's fancy for the show, but it's a mechanism that's actually legitimate. Everything else is questionable. It's a great trade, but it's basically a glorified software company. Everything else, which I'm fine with. You could trade and all that, but Bitcoin, imagine something. What is someone smarter than you, richer than you, and wealthier than you that's going to want to buy from you in 10 years? They're not going to want to buy, right, left Dogecoin. They're going to want to buy Bitcoin from you. Or digital. It's like digital Palm Beach real estate.
Sure. Yeah. And do you still accept Bitcoin as payment in your practice?
I do, but like people don't want to do it. And it's more of a marketing thing, but like as a currency, that's a big argument. I don't really see Bitcoin as a currency. You don't want it to be because with currencies, you don't want to replace the dollar.
Sure.
With replacement and fiat currency, you don't want to replace it because it brings more regulation, more hesitancy. Bitcoin is not there to replace the dollar.
Gotcha.
But you technically can go to a gas station and there's Bitcoin ATMs. I'm sure you've seen them. You'd think, why, like a Diet Mountain Dew and there's a Bitcoin stand. You can actually trade cash into digital Bitcoin, add Bitcoin ATMs throughout the country. And it's legit. There's stock exchange, publicly listed companies that are Bitcoin ATMs. There's like 70,000.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is crazy. I think I'm going to say interesting like 100 times on this podcast. So if you are bothered by that, leave me a 5-star review first, then go to the next episode. Okay. So were you researched and then you bought, or you bought and then you researched?
Good question.
Yeah. Because someone like me, I'm more of a let's just do it and I'll figure it out later kind of person, versus there are a lot of people who need to know the details before they commit.
Correct.
Where are you?
Whatever floats your fancy. It doesn't matter. Honestly, do what you need to do. Now, and Michael Saylor, he's the main Bitcoin guy with MicroStrategy. He's like, imagine like Tim Cook of Apple, but he's the Michael Saylor. He's the Bitcoin guy.
Okay.
You have this Satoshi fake thing in the air, and then you have Michael Saylor. He says you need at least 100 hours of education to even understand 90% of Bitcoin. At this point, I probably spent 1,000 hours and I probably understand 95%.
Okay.
He says you need at least 100 hours to even understand it. But that doesn't preclude you buying it. We buy crap every day that wouldn't even put any research in.
Literally.
I mean, I'm sure I or your husband or your friends have bought some crap crypto that they just went like this on their phone. Yeah. 0 minutes.
Yeah.
So whatever.
I mean, that's kind of what he did, probably. What is even Ripple? That's like a crappy organic milk.
True. Yeah.
It doesn't even taste good.
People can't even speak about Ripple for more than 2 sentences.
Okay. Yeah.
If they can, I'll buy them more Ripple.
Right. Okay. So who is Michael Saylor? Where did he come from?
Good question. So he was CEO of a publicly listed company called MicroStrategy. It's an enterprise software company. Imagine like a small software company during the .com era. So his company was one of, like Cisco and all this software stuff that you and I were too busy with school.
Yeah.
But basically, in the bubble, everything took off. The .com boom and bust and bubble. He was one of those companies. So it went up sky high and then they crashed. And then he's like an enterprise software company doing like validation signatures on emails and Microsoft Outlook and all this stuff. It's like $50 million a year company, whatever. They call it what's it called? Like a dormant company, basically. So he had to do something different. So in COVID, he did a deep dive. He used to hate Bitcoin, by the way.
Yeah.
So there's only 2 people in the world, and everyone's one, and they shift. You hate Bitcoin and against it, or you're for it. There's no in between. And I'm
for it.
I haven't met anyone that spent over 100 hours that's against it.
Okay.
So it's just a lack of understanding. But Michael Saylor basically is a guy that's a proponent of Bitcoin. He buys Bitcoin. He's the first company to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet, which means that's a big deal now. It's a hot topic. Very hot topic.
What does that mean?
Good question. So that means like a publicly traded company, like a stock that you or your family members may own or friends, their company, instead of putting a dividend back to you, let's say you get 50 cents every quarter dividend check in the mail, or your parents might reinvest it, or instead of buying more warehouses or fancy stuff and making that business bigger and better potentially, or mergers and acquisitions, they say, screw it. We're going to buy Bitcoin with all our free cash flow and just hold it on our company's balance sheet. And it's better than cash because cash devalues over time. Cash is like usually it's 8%, it devalues a year. So like if you made 100 grand, the next year, that 100 grand really feels like 92 grand. Yeah. And we all know the feeling. And since COVID, it's 12 to 15% a year.
Yeah.
So if you'd have to make 140, 150 grand right now compared to 2020 pre-COVID to even feel the same.
Yeah.
So,
I think we all
feel it. And none of your listeners will
wants
disagree.
to talk about it. Yeah.
And nobody's salaries went up more than a couple percent a year. So nothing's matched.
If they got lucky.
Correct. There's a discordance. So how can we solve this dilemma? Bitcoin. It's the only asset that's rare, scarce. Everybody wants it. No one understands it, which is great. Once people understand it, it's too late. And now everyone's buying it. And I mean, everyone, not Joe Blow, but Joe Blow, but also BlackRock. And the biggest Wall Street institutions. The U.S. government is about to put some on their Federal Reserve, their balance sheet. Trump said it at the Bitcoin conference. I went to that conference.
Yes, tell us about that. You saw Don Jr. there.
Don Jr. has a copy of the book. He has a copy of the book. I gave it to him. I took a video of him walking out with it.
Yes.
He's like, thanks, man. And he didn't throw it away, so we're good. But it was the night before his dad, President Trump, gave the speech on Bitcoin. So that's kind of a neat little thing to know that, the president's son.
So they believe in it.
Yes.
Clearly.
Yes.
How do you, I don't know if we finished answering that question completely, but I keep bouncing around in my head. Okay, I want to buy Bitcoin. How do I buy one?
Good question.
Basic.
Multiple ways. The easiest way for someone like you that's a smart person but naive to the thing is honestly nowadays is an ETF on your traditional stock exchange like Schwab or E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, whatever broker that you and your family does. You go online and you just buy one of the ETFs. There's like 9 to 11 ETFs for Bitcoin. The most popular one is the BlackRock one. BlackRock, I keep mentioning that because they're the biggest company in the world. If they fail, the world fails. It's called IBIT, IBIT. Okay. And you just buy it like a stock. You put in $1,000, you buy shares. That's the easiest way, but it's Monday through Friday. If you want to be an OG and have full control of the Bitcoin, which is another reason why people want Bitcoin, because its government can't take it from you.
Yeah.
The only way to do that is to buy it through like a Coinbase or a wallet and take it offline onto a personal wallet, like a digital wallet that's encrypted with keyword phrases. And you can even take that offline and put it on a hard drive and bury it in the ground.
Yeah.
Like
I remember hearing about this when it first came out.
Yeah.
Okay. So where's yours? Do you have yours in a wallet like that?
I've told some people, I've memorized my key phrases in case somebody holds a gun to me. I can be free. But I hold it in multiple different spots to hedge my bet, but we'll see what happens.
Okay.
I don't have a good answer for that.
Okay.
But multiple spots.
Okay. But if I were going to go buy one like today, I can go through like my Fidelity or whatever.
Like Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, your trading hours, 9:30 to 4. You can go and buy it. Very easy, super easy. I showed my mom and my dad, and anyone can do it. It's very easy.
But then if I'm purchasing it through them, then I don't truly have that full 24/7 access to it.
Correct.
I want the full access. I'm just playing Candace. This is what Kandace would say, okay?
So I like to tell people, I'm not advising anything. This is no financial advice, but like...
That is a disclaimer we will put in the show notes. This is not financial advice, even though this is a finance podcast.
Yeah, I can read about in the front of the book too. I put that disclaimer in there too. But anyways, the easiest way is to just do it. So like in medicine, we see, do, teach.
Yeah.
So same with Bitcoin. So see and then do it. So go in and buy some on your stockbroker. It's easy. And then like follow it and then like watch it. You'll like look on your phone. I guarantee it. You'll look at your phone. You'll like become more educated. You'll watch a YouTube video when you're working something. And once you understand more of it, then you can start buying the cold coin and all that.
Okay.
It's not like one's better or worse. It's more convenience. The fees add up the same. There's other ways to do it. Like if you're fancy, you can buy MicroStrategy stock, which is like a lever on Bitcoin because they hold it and it's like a 2x. Then you can buy a 2x of MicroStrategy, which is a 4x.
Okay. Yeah. Above my head.
I know.
But good. Okay.
Good and bad. On good days, it's good. On bad days, it's
stressful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming you have it in like that area too. Okay, cool, good. So let's address some of the questions or like some of the topics. So you guys, his book, Bitcoin Investing, again, it's on Amazon. It's paperback, so it's light. I literally carried it around in my purse all day today from the gym to the hair salon to
there's a Kindle
the
copy
mall.
too.
There's a Kindle copy, but it's quick. There's 22 chapters, and I just want to hit some of the chapters because I feel like this is stuff that literally is exactly what we're all hesitating or thinking about before jumping.
And you know why it
Bitcoin.
is? Because I mean, I am biased, but this is the only book you need because I asked about 20 people and most of them were doctors because I was so irritated on people dissing Bitcoin and spending zero time learning about it.
Yeah.
So I said, why? And I made notes
this is
and
what
I
they
literally
said. Yeah.
put all that together in a book format.
Well, and exactly. I'm like, okay, well, maybe the time in my life is not right because I'm young. I need to invest in other things. I need to get my finances together. Like, what's your answer to that?
I love that chapter because it's applicable to both of us.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite chapters because it hurts. So since COVID, inflation is out of control. We just print, and give money away to other causes outside the country. Basically, it's our generation's only hope of economic prosperity. You and I can't keep up with inflation. You cannot outwork inflation.
It's crazy. I'm realizing that, and it sucks.
Not
it's like
3% a year. It's 12 to 15 monetary inflation. The printer is always on, and we don't receive as quick as the printer prints.
Yeah.
So that's why it's very important. It's like owning property, which our generation is so hard to buy a house. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm homeless.
Yeah.
But I don't care. Here's my home.
Yeah.
Because I own digital property, and digital property will take me to the promised land.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see.
And now what do you tell people who are like, I'm like 75. I'm done. I've got money in the bank. I feel good about it. What do you tell them?
That's a classic. So that's like people like my dad. Another reason why I wrote that book is so I didn't have tons of money at that time. Like you and I are working, we're busy, family, all this stuff. So I can't just press a button for $1 million and buy $1 million of Bitcoin. I would have loved to.
Sure.
And I knew I'd be right. So best thing I can do is convince people that are rich, that have money to buy Bitcoin, especially family members. So the first page of my book is like, I wrote this book to convince my family to buy Bitcoin on the family's balance sheet.
Yeah.
And they better buy a copious amount.
Yeah.
I mean, this book I wrote it like when Bitcoin was at 35,000.
Oh my
It's
God.
at 95 to 100 now.
This is crazy.
And most people that I interview for the book haven't even reached back out to me and talked to me. The guilt must be just dripping.
Yeah.
And these are like doctors too. They think they're smart.
Well, they think that they know everything. Yeah, we all do. I don't. I don't know about you. I don't think that you do either. But
No.
Okay, so let's address. So, but basically, you tell the older generation they still need to get it.
So yeah, so they can think different. Our generation, we think growth. Like we want to make money. We can't have to outwork inflation. We want to be rich, just financially free. We don't have to drive around in fancy cars.
Or we can.
We can.
Yeah.
But the older generation, the most important thing is you have money. You don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
So they're losing money. They don't think so because they don't realize what's actually happening. Oh, I'm in the fund and I'm getting 8% a year. This year I got 12. Actually, you didn't. Since COVID, the printer's been 12 to 15. You're actually still down 3%.
Yeah.
So they're losing money. So this is a way for them to keep the money. And our goal is to appreciate, and obviously theirs is too, but this is a way for them to not lose money. What else would you rather own besides Bitcoin? Palm Beach real estate? That's about it.
Sure. Yeah.
But we can't just go down the street and buy a $4 million house just like this.
Correct.
And if you did, why would you put a $4 million down payment? I'd rather own Bitcoin. And the ultimate move is buy a house in Palm Beach, own Bitcoin, and then take a home equity line of credit on your house and use that value to buy Bitcoin.
I love this.
And I love this. If I had a house, I would do it. I tell people, and that's where you get the eyes like this. But that's a Michael Saylor move.
Okay. So tell me about, the social fear associated with Bitcoin. Like, how can you alleviate that? Or, aside from just say, don't worry about it.
So I actually made that chapter because I thought that was very important. And I even interviewed some psychiatrists and psychologists, like doctors. And they're like, wow. I'm like, yeah, this is important. Because a lot of people initially, they fear being wrong.
Yes.
And this is me. My book's geared towards smart people that are just either experts or naive. I'm telling you, this book I gave to CEOs, and I guarantee they learn stuff. But also someone like you and your audience that's educated or wants to learn, but just is naive on the topics, like me on other topics. I don't know anything.
Yeah. Like, I could teach you all day about, like, hair and makeup.
Yeah, but I would listen at least for, like, a little bit.
Yeah, of course. No, but that's not relevant to you, but this is relevant to me. It is.
So it's like a big thing when you are wrong and when others see that you're wrong. So that's why everybody just will invest. Traditional investing is in a fund or a market because when you're wrong, everyone's wrong.
Yeah.
So the market goes down, you're down. You're like, you're at the coffee
you
table.
commiserate.
Bad year.
Yeah.
But when you buy Bitcoin and you're wrong, it's like you were rogue and different, and now you're tar and feathered in the Panera circle when you talk about have your morning coffee.
Sure.
But when you're right, you're right, and you look good. But the people fear being wrong more than risking to be right. So that's why people are hesitant about Bitcoin, or they trickle in. They spend like an hour learning about it on this podcast, and they've never spent an hour learning about any stock in their life that they've ever bought. I guarantee it.
Yes. No, of course not. I have this stock.
it.
I don't know what the hell it is.
You spent more.
I have no idea.
You're going to know more about Bitcoin than any stock that you currently own.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. They trickle in. Like it's some sort of like felon. You get like a felon, and there's like a laser that's going to zap you. So they trickle in. They buy. Here's a classic story from doctors, male doctors that are well off. They'll wake up at 4 a.m. because they got to pee every hour. They'll go on their phone. They'll go on their phone. They have like $1 billion of NVIDIA or some crap. They'll put like $800 in Bitcoin, and they'll buy it in like little pieces. And then when they pee again at 6 a.m., they'll buy the other half, and they'll put a limit order in because they're mad that it was $1 more. And then really they're only buying 1/60 of a Bitcoin, so it's like 8 cents difference. Yeah. They'll screw around for this Bitcoin that they spend so much time learning about, but they'll dump their whole paycheck into some deadbeat stock that willy-nilly. It's insane.
Yeah. No, this is actual reality.
These are coming from
You're
smart
100%
people.
right.
It's insane.
We do this, yeah.
I know, because I think like this, but I don't do it.
So what percentage of people, you may not know the answer to this, actually own Bitcoin right now?
Good question. They give numbers for like owning crypto in general and owning Bitcoin. I don't know. The numbers float everywhere. There's like statistics. I don't even want to give you a number, but like 10 to 40% own some crypto in the United States.
I bet it's on the lower end.
Yeah, but the average amount is like, the average person owns, the average person puts like $7,000 in their IRA a year, and maybe the average person owns like a couple $100 of Bitcoin at most.
Yeah, right.
And that would be equivalent to like 0.02 Bitcoin ish. It's okay. Everyone should own more Bitcoin than they did yesterday. That's the correct answer.
Okay. So let's address Bitcoin's volatility. So did it crash at some point?
Yes.
Okay.
So a couple years ago, it did crash, ran up to upper 60,000s and crashed to like 16,000. I mean, that's...
What caused that? Do we know?
A lot of factors. Usually, it's like this is cycles, Bitcoin cycles. I hate that word. There's a chapter on that too. But like, there is these cycles. Like every 4 years, of course, it kind of times around the election and then the monetary cycle. It's an advanced topic for this discussion. But it crashed then. There's no major cause. It wasn't like a bad thing. There wasn't like a breach or anything bad. There's never been a breach. It's the safest thing ever.
Okay.
But it crashed. So the people like, well, not me, I wish it was me, just would buy more.
Yeah.
And accumulate more. And people panic sell.
Yes.
So they fly on the way up, they panic sell on the way down, and then they're scared for the next time. So now it's back in this cycle. Well, we hope. And there's a lot of people still on the sideline because they're like, I got burned last time.
Yes.
But history does not repeat itself. There's a million new variables since the last time. Like, this is now sound, legit, adopted by government, politically backed, best business in the world, BlackRock backed. I mean, follow the money.
Yeah, right.
If we had this discussion 4 years ago, it'd be a little more rogue. Our discussion would be a little, walking on thin ice, a little risky. But now, I mean,
You're like completely confident in this.
100%. My heart rate's 65 talking about Bitcoin. It gets to 64 on a low day and 66 on a high day.
Yeah. Okay, enough said. Okay, why don't more financial advisors recommend this? Do you think it's lack of knowledge on their part? Like, what's the deal?
Good question. And I know some of the listeners' spouses will be...
Yeah, of course. A lot of the people that are going to listen to this are going to be like, no.
It's okay. I talked to like...
My guy says this.
I talked to like 5 or 10 of them before writing this book. And 5 of them blew me off like I was a convicted felon.
Sure.
And
like you were a crazy person.
Crazy.
Legit.
And this is like January of 2024. This isn't 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The ETFs came out in January. I said, hey, what's your plan when these things launch? They're like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, what? This is like me being a doctor and saying, when Ozempic's coming out, what's your plan?
Yeah.
Every doctor should have a plan. Primary doctor should have a plan.
Yes.
So I wrote about that in my book. I'm like, this is insane. And that's actually drove me to write the book even more. I'm like, this is insane. Like, these finance people, everyone's good at what they do, but like the lack of motivation to even learn, to put in 10, 100 hours to learn this, like, look where it is now. I mean, I don't care about the told you so game. Like, it's not my goal in this. Like, it's not my goal. My goal is, honestly, for me, just about Bitcoin as much as possible, my family to buy more and friends, and I care about anyone else. I don't care.
Sure.
But like, they blew me off. And I think the fear was, there's 3 things. They didn't want to learn. They thought it was a threat.
Yeah.
Because
people can get it themselves too.
Yeah, they thought it was a threat. So they thought like they'd become useless. But if you were smart, you'd think the opposite.
100%.
And BlackRock did. They made the ETF. And there's a lot of value in someone helping manage your Bitcoin and even just telling you what to do. Like our conversation right now, this is this is probably like a couple $100 worth of knowledge that your listeners are getting.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
Y'all are welcome.
I mean, honestly, this discussion...
Bitcoin me.
This discussion is probably in the top 10 percentile of topics and information than financial advisors in Palm Beach County.
Yeah.
Still. And it's December 2024, leading into New Year of January.
So they were lazy? I mean, we're not going to call people lazy, although that is what's true.
Intellectually,
so people didn't necessarily want to invest, like these financial advisors that maybe are telling you it's a bad idea or not to do it, probably don't have as much education as they can, or they could, or they should.
It's a threat. Anything new is a threat. So it's like, or they were complacent or happy with where they were.
Yeah.
Because
I'm successful. I don't need to learn this.
Correct.
I'm doing great with my portfolio.
It's actually not a bad
people
move.
People are making money, whatever.
It's not a bad move in that point because they get bonuses, XYZ. So it's like, why rock the boat?
Yeah.
So why be the rogue person? But here's the deal. Older people don't want to learn new things, but younger people age 30, 40 do. So Bitcoin's a newer, younger person thing because we're curious. We go on YouTube. I got an MBA on YouTube.
Oh, like I know you got a lot of degrees. I don't know about that one.
I got an MBA on YouTube. I'm serious.
No, basically, yeah.
Like, and anyone could if they wanted to, if they put in 100 to 1,000 hours and deep diving. I mean,
that's what's so crazy about the education system. Not to digress into that, but exactly. You have everything at your fingertips. Anything you want to learn. You could learn to do exactly what I do as a plastic surgeon by watching videos, reading, researching online yourself. Like, you didn't got to go to actual school for that. I mean, you do to actually do it, but isn't it crazy?
It's crazy. Honestly, if Bitcoin takes off and these other altcoins, that's what the name of the other cryptocurrencies take off, I'm obviously selling those, but I want to do something like that, actually. I want to, like, refine the whole college education system. If money wasn't a thing, I would do it tomorrow. And there is some institutions that are sort of doing it, like, to name drop some of my friends, actually, at University of Austin in Texas. It's like a trendy new college they just made. Brand new. They actually accept donations and endowments in Bitcoin only.
Nice. Okay.
And Elon Musk is their speaker.
Of course. Yeah. Of course he is.
And these people go get Fortune 500 jobs on day one, and they don't learn the crap in college. They only get dedicated real stuff, and it's truncated. It's insane. They got all these Ivy League people for the first year class, gave them free tuition. The Ivy League students said, screw you to the Ivy League schools that they got in. And they said, this sounds better. I'm going to graduate and make tons of money on day one.
Yeah.
So that's a refined education. Not to digress, but they actually adopt Bitcoin. My book's in their library.
Amazing. I love that. I love that. Okay. I don't even know what we were talking about.
I don't know.
How we got to this point.
Just say interesting. And you'll be
interesting. Very interesting, Dr. Barry. Okay. Ooh, okay. You have a chapter on, this will be good, Bitcoin's moral, ethical, and spiritual ramifications.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Why did you write that chapter?
I threw that in, and it's purposely last because, honestly, Bitcoin is hope. It's hope for the 8 billion people in the world to finally own something that's not going to devalue over time. It's hope for someone that wants to put a couple $5, $10, $100 of their paycheck in something that's going to appreciate over time. Because right now, our fiat system's dead. Every year it debases every 12, 15% lately. And the value of the dollar is insanely low. A doctor 30 years ago makes more than a doctor today, pre-inflation adjusted even, but inflation adjusted, it's insane. Bitcoin's hope. And honestly, I put that in there also with God because it gives you a chance to have time in your life back to yourself. Because right now, I'm going to be honest, and it's extreme, but I don't care. We all work a deadbeat job. I don't care what people think. You can think whatever you want, but you're telling yourself a fake story. We all work a deadbeat job. We're away from our family the whole week, and we live in places that we would never even dream about living just to go around, and collect fiat currency that's going to devalue the minute you get it, and then they go back. It's just like a cycle of doom. So Bitcoin is a way to break that cycle. It's hope for your future family. You put it on your family balance sheet. You spend more time with people that you actually care about, and you do things, and you get closer to God or your own spiritual ways. I mean, if it was financially free, I would do a million other things.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I would teach, I would do whatever, I would work at the church, I would do a lot of things. Guess what? I told some people at some churches, they should hold Bitcoin as a donation on their balance sheet.
Yeah.
It could appreciate over time. They should hold Bitcoin, and like big churches around this area should do that.
Yeah.
That's like the next wave. It's coming.
I know somebody you can talk to.
It's coming, by the way.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I'm telling you guys.
Especially in Palm Beach County. It's coming. If someone just gave your church 10 Bitcoins,
yeah.
I guarantee you, in 20 years.
They'd change real quick. Exactly. Okay, so I was like re-downloading my financial app because I want to see where I can purchase.
If you have, I don't know what you use, Schwab or like...
I have a Fidelity.
Fidelity
and Vanguard.
Yeah, so you can buy the ETFs through those. Most of them are approved and allowed. If your account or system doesn't allow you, move your money. That's the only way they learn.
Exactly.
So I tell everyone that. I said, if there's any hesitation and they don't allow you, like,
so if I go to, okay, we're going to do this after the podcast, but I'm going to buy
Don't tell your husband.
I'm going to buy some Bitcoin. Why not?
Actually, he should
Everything
love it.
you're saying, it makes perfect sense.
The best thing you can do right now.
And listen, if anybody's going to lie to me, it's not Andrew Barry.
The best thing you can do right now is honestly buy Bitcoin for your kids.
Yes.
And put it in like a tax-friendly account for your kids and hold Bitcoin. That is the way. Mm-hmm. Honestly, tokenize like your system. Do like chores and allowance money. Don't give them fiat. Give them like 0.001 Bitcoin and buy it every month for them.
Okay.
I gift my
I was going to say,
niece,
are you gifting Bitcoin for Christmas?
I gift my niece. I'm the godfather, and she's 2 years old now. I gifted her Bitcoin. Get this. At her baptism 2 years ago when it was 16,800. Now it's 4x'd. She is the number one returner on Wall Street.
No way.
She's 2 years old.
That is great.
And every birthday I buy her more. And it's in an account. And just wait. It'll pay for her college.
This is incredible.
her non-traditional college.
Exactly.
So I'll be sending them to University of Austin.
Oh my God, you're totally the crazy uncle. But like in a good way.
It's returned higher than the number one investor on Wall Street.
That is crazy. This is good. This is good stuff. Okay, so if someone, let's go back. Let's keep it really basic. You've got a financial, you work with a financial company, you call them, or you use your app or whatever you want, and you look for the Bitcoin ETFs.
I would do that. I think that's the easiest way for a smart listener like your listeners, but a naive listener.
Because then you feel like you're going to still, there's some security because you're getting it through them.
Correct.
It's not going anywhere.
And you're not going to make a mistake,
see it.
And you're used to doing that anyway with stocks.
Yeah, right.
And you can look at it, but once you become more familiar, I guarantee you're going to be doing other things, and you're going to buy a MicroStrategy or...
So what is a Bitcoin miner?
Good question.
These are people that have this job.
Yeah, and sort of.
Okay.
So it's like machines. Like imagine like a modem for a wireless network.
Yeah.
Or like an old cable box back in the day. Or like a Blockbuster video, I guess, like that kind of size. Yeah. So basically they're dispersed across the world, and they run computational algorithms in this remote network that uses wireless and solves problems and these nodes, and you're getting rewards by solving these problems. The owners don't do anything. Like you and I could buy this, but now they're so expensive and the power is hard to find. Now there's these Bitcoin farms.
Okay.
So we love farming.
Yes.
Your family's
Farming
into
Feeds
that,
Alabama.
right?
Farming Feeds.
We love farming, but we also love Bitcoin farming.
Okay.
So the future is both.
Okay.
But mining's tough now. The rewards go down each cycle every 4 years. So the halving event. So imagine like a scarce asset of 21 million, then every 4 years the rewards halve. So they went from like 6.5 to like 3.25 now rewards per cycle, which there's only 450 Bitcoin mined a day in the world. There used to be like 10,000 a day.
Okay.
So imagine people trying to buy this.
It's harder to get.
So what happens? Supply and demand, 101. When there's
up.
a fixed asset
Exactly.
and the rewards go lower and people want to buy it more, what is going to happen?
So what do you think, and this you may not know the answer, but with the political environment and let's say Dogecoin and let's say Trump and his son like getting involved in cryptocurrency, like do you think Bitcoin is still going to stay the strongest of all the other cryptocurrencies, like, or do you think they're going to back another one? Like what, do you have any predictions?
Yeah, so Bitcoin's king. Everything else is inferior, and I'm not just saying that to say that. It's true because Bitcoin's deemed a security by the SEC.
Okay.
Or, digital property.
Okay.
Sorry, not a security. So everything else is like a stock, which is a traditional security. Bitcoin's digital property. It's like a commodity. It's deemed that. So it's a different entity. So that's its regulatory protection. So basically, all the other stuff, other crypto is, there's not really the legitimacy because it's not deemed as digital property. Bitcoin has that classification. Also, there's senators pushing for these bills. Cynthia Loomis of Wyoming has proposed it. Trump's proposed it. Don Jr.'s proposed it. Barron Trump, I guarantee you, got Big Don involved in Bitcoin.
Okay. Yeah.
Not little, but he's like, what, 6, 7?
I know, right?
So because it's the wave of the future, he likes it. He's interested and knows everything about it. I guarantee you he got his dad into it.
Yeah.
But it's not about just being into it. It's about, like, follow the money. Wall Street's into it. And it's a strategic asset. It's a competition. Whoever stands next to the printer the quickest and prints the quickest of fiat money and converts it to Bitcoin the quickest will win the world. It's extreme. It's not extreme and the U.S. is going to do it. It's called the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. They already own 200,000 Bitcoin. Michael Saylor has outlined a strategy, and the bills are going to the House and all that. It's going to happen next year. When it happens, but it's going to be an arms race between other countries. Other countries are silently doing it. Brazil just announced it. Third world countries, this is their only hope.
Yes.
Because the currency gets debased and inflated like 100% a year. Mm-hmm. It's insane. Like other third world countries, they cannot keep up. It's like, so El Salvador actually adopted Bitcoin as their monetary system, and jokes on them, or jokes on everybody else because it was risky and dumb. Yeah. Now they're thriving. There's less crime. There's everything. They're mining Bitcoin with volcano energy.
Interesting.
Did you know that 60 to 70% of all energy used for Bitcoin miners, which is heavy energy, comes from unused and renewable energies? So anyone saying that it's like we're in the environment, all that is completely wrong. It's like the number one user of unused and renewable energies. Like in Texas is the number one Bitcoin mining state in the country. They curtail their energy, which means at nighttime when people don't use as much power for their homes, the miners turn on and they use it. So there's not wasted energy.
This is wild.
It's a whole nother world out there.
Literally.
I wish I figured it out. I wish I figured it out like 3 years ago, but I was too deep in someone's stomach and wrecked them, you know?
Yes, you were. Okay. Is there anything else that you feel like we haven't talked about that's like a high bullet point about Bitcoin? We talked about like doing it young versus old, hesitancy, social hesitancy, the stability of it.
So yeah, I would say the number one complaint people have is like they think they're too late.
Yeah. Here's
a good analogy. Warren Buffett was 36 years late to Apple. His best investment and the best company ever. He was 9 years, his first purchase of Apple was in 2016, 9 years after the number one product in the world ever, the iPhone. Mm-hmm. You're not late to Bitcoin. Uh-huh. Warren Buffett was 36 years late to Apple and was his number one investment. He's the richest guy in the world. You're what?
You just got to do it.
You're 36 days or months late to Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. He was 36 years.
Yeah.
Bitcoin's only going higher. I don't give price predictions. It's stupid. Here's my answer: higher. And how much should you own? More than yesterday. And is it a good price? That's another thing. People will screw around for the price. Here's the deal. I've bought the top.
It's only going up.
I bought the top of Bitcoin every single day that I bought Bitcoin. You know why? Because it's all-time highs now. Uh-huh. I don't care. Whenever I have cash, and everyone does their own investments, different amounts, but you buy. Even if it's $10, who cares? Mm-hmm. Buy it once a week. But you're like people fighting about price right now are like fighting about Apple stock at $7 or $8 or $9.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you had a video of yourself from 10 years ago of you fighting over not buying Apple because it was $7.40 instead of $7.10? Mm-hmm. You'd hate your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's split and all that, and it's still like $200 or $300.
Yeah.
This is trivial. Here's what you do. It's the first chapter in the book.
Yes.
Actually, open the first chapter.
The Bitcoin strategy.
It's only 3. Let's read it out loud.
Okay. Oh yeah, I love this chapter. I read this at the mall. The Bitcoin strategy, chapter 1. You buy Bitcoin, period. You hold Bitcoin, period. You buy more Bitcoin, period. It's very simple. End of chapter 1. That's it. Travis, are you going to buy Bitcoin? Travis is our producer, and he agrees. He's buying Bitcoin. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest, Benjamin Franklin. And if you don't have a Bitcoin strategy, you don't have a strategy. That's from Michael Saylor.
That's all correct.
Quotes in the book. This book has literally everything. And in addition to that, this book is going to give you access to Dr. Barry. So his website, which is
thedrbitcoin.com.
Thedrbitcoin.com. Dr. DR, not spelled out.
Correct.
And people can email you.
Yeah, there's email in there. Also, I have my own podcast series coming soon.
Yes.
So I'll link it to your future stuff. And a lot of my potential viewers will obviously like your content also, so there'll be a good overlap.
Maybe not, but I don't care. They should.
So, honestly, you should make yourself because, first of all, it's an educational topic.
Yeah.
It's not like we're talking about something wasting your time.
And again, this is a super quick read. I really think this is something that people should get and gift.
It's a great gift. It's a good stocking stuffer. It fits.
Yes.
I tested it.
Exactly. Did you purposely make sure the pages were stocking appropriate?
Exactly. It says it on the back cover.
Yeah, this
Approved.
is good. This is good. Okay. Well, my mind is blown. I'm in it to win it. I definitely am 100% honest that I do not have Bitcoin as of this moment, but I will by tonight. I'm going to make Nick sell this Ripple crap and get some Bitcoin. But I really appreciate the information, and I think the listeners will too.
Thanks for having me. And obviously, I just want to leave by saying, education is key. If you're hesitant about something, just spend the time to learn about it. I haven't met a single person that's against Bitcoin that's spent over 50 to 100 hours. Not a single person. You know what I do every day? It's the last chapter, actually. It says, what can I do to buy more Bitcoin and be a better person? Those are the only two things I want to do each day.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Barry. Again, people can find you on the drbitcoin.com. Which Instagram do you
Something
prefer?
with that too. It's all listed on the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the drbitcoin.com. I'm going to link his website, link his social platforms on the show notes. So if you are done driving around listening to this, check it out there. If you're on YouTube, it'll be linked as well. So you can click easy. He's got a picture. We've got the book here. So if you're watching, you can see it. Orange, obviously, which is why I wore this blazer today, why he's wearing his shirt. But buy yourself some Bitcoin. Thanks, guys.
Thanks
Check you next time.